Yo, it's time to play some Spelunky. Alright, so I've played this game a little bit before, and I don't really know what to do. I mean, like, alongside this. So I'm gonna preamble. Um, in my life at the minute, there's been a good amount of stuff that's happened recently. The biggest of which probably is the fact that I broke my arm. That happened pretty recently. So basically, what was happening was I was out with my family. We were getting pictures taken, like professional, like family photos. It was great, and we were chilling. It was at like this cultural heritage site originally. Um, they like it's pretty common for people want to get pictures taken there, so they have like professional photographers that are there. The person that was there actually originally lived in like a house at the site. And it was really cool. She was a fantastic photographer. We all were like matching outfits and everything. And my cousin, he was like, "Oh, let's," he was like hopping the fence. And ooh, there's an altar. He decided to hop the fence. Um, so like we were gonna go to this like field for the next picture that we were shooting, and he was like, "All right, I'm gonna hop this fence," and he hops the fence. Um, and he's like this little rebar fence. There were three like log bar things. Um, and so he hops it totally fine, and I'm like two posts down from him, and I'm like, oh yeah, I can do that too. And I take a second to think about it, and then I'm like, you know what, yeah, I'm gonna do this. And I hop the fence, and then the top bar of the fence that I'm hopping over breaks. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. I'm gonna catch myself with my arm. Because I had like a quarter second to think about it. And so I go and I try to catch myself, and the arm also breaks the fence. And oh, that oops. Oh. And so yeah. Oh, yeah, well, it happens. But anyway, so I'm going, and I'm falling. I try to catch myself. It breaks, and immediately I feel a little bit of pain at first. I feel like a jolt of pain, and then mostly just tingles. And then I notice numbness, and I'm like, oh, might be like a sprain at the very worst. I'm like, I'm fine, we can keep shooting, keep taking these photos. And I look down at my arm, and I see right in the middle of my forearm that like my forearm's going, it's going, and then it just doesn't connect properly with the rest of the forearm anymore. And so I turn to my mom and I go, I think it's broken. And see, when I was like 13, like growing up, all the way until like 14, every now and again, I'd like hurt myself and I'd be like, I think I may have broken it. I think it might be broken. Can we like go somewhere? And then we look at it, and it's like totally fine. I've like done nothing. I may have hurt myself a tiny bit. And so she goes, "Oh no, you're fine." My dad is a paramedic. He has a look at it real quick because he doesn't, he always takes that seriously. He assumes that I'm, wrong, that it's not actually broken. But then he sees, he's like, "Oh, this looks a little bit odd." And he's like, "Can you wiggle your fingers?" And I try to wiggle my fingers, and I can like kind of a little bit like twitch my middle finger, and he's like, "Yeah, I think you might have broken it." So we run to the ER, in the local town. We were like an hour out from our hometown. Uh, and so we go to this random ER, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that probably doesn't look good. You want a sling?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And it's like starting to hurt a little bit. The ride there was totally fine. I'm just feeling all the adrenaline. I want to like laugh. I want to giggle. Like in my mind, I'm like trying my best not to like laugh maniacally um, at the situation. And because I'm sitting there in my mind, I think it's hilarious. Because I'm like, I do all this stuff. I like pole vault. I do the track event where you run, bend a pole, and fling yourself into the air and try to go as high as you can. And so I'm like, I do all of this, and yet this is how I break my arm. There's no way. And I'm trying my best not to laugh maniacally about this. And my mom is sitting there like, ooh, that's like terrified. And so we go in, and at first, because we're still not entirely sure if I've broken it or not, And so she is thinking like, oh, she tells me, she's like, this better be broken, otherwise you're gonna look like such a wuss. And we get the X-rays back, and both my radius and my ulna, both the forearm bones, if you didn't know that, um, are completely broken through, and the bottom half of my bone, the one closer to my elbow, has pushed up into the muscle tissues of my forearm, from me breaking it and then trying to continue to push myself up. I like shoved it in deeper into my arm. Um, so she looks at the X-ray and immediately feels bad, which I think is hilarious. I felt bad for her for feeling bad. Um, but so the pain's starting to hit. We got the X-ray, and they're like, this may need surgery, honestly. And so we're, not entirely sure what to do. So instead we go relatively close. It's like another town about a half hour away from us. Because I don't want to sit. So now that the pain's starting to hit, I don't want to sit in a car for an entire hour, with this going on. Because my arm is really like, I'm starting to feel this, like feel the full pain of a broken arm and bones stabbed inside of me. Um, and so we decide, yeah, we'll go like a half hour away. And I'm like, yeah, I think I might be able to handle that because there's not a lot of alternative besides going all the way home. Um, and so we are like, yeah, let's do this. And we go. And it takes me, they don't give me any pain medication, because a lot of things like that end up being, they're, what's it called? Blood thinners. And so they don't want to, screw with my blood. They don't want to end up seriously, because I'm bleeding internally from having bones stabbed into my muscle tissue. Then it's entirely likely that having, a blood thinner can suddenly make me like not have enough blood, and it could like kill me. And so we decide to not the doctors decide to not give me any sort of pain medication, and I end up going 3 whole hours through 2 different consultations, 2 different triages, um, and they're finally like, all right, yeah, you know what, you can go, and I guess we can give you like some morphine or something. You can have some morphine, why not? um, and oh, I just missed. That's stupid. Well, whatever. um, and they finally put me on morphine, and it like kind of helps. um, But eventually they take me back, and I'm like, I don't even realize how drugged up I am, but I have so much morphine in me. And they decide to set it, which is the most painful thing I've ever had to do. They basically just, like, now that I'm all drugged up, they grab my arm and rip the bones back into place. Because as I mentioned, they're not in place anymore. It's like inside of me, in the wrong place inside of me. And so, yeah, that was fun. Um, Despite being drugged up, that was still the most painful thing I've ever done. I was told that that kind of pain usually in people that don't have morphine in their system will make them like pass out from the pain, um, which I can see that it was not optimal. It was not an optimal thing, in terms of experiences. But I it happened. It felt very quick to me. I'm fairly certain that I passed out for part of it because it felt like about 15 seconds for me. I was told later that it lasted probably about 70. Um, and I really only felt about 15 seconds of it, and I remember like 10. But also, again, I was on amnesiatics, so um, entirely possible that I just didn't, just don't remember it. Um, but anyway, so they put me on morphine. They set it. They put a cast on me. Fiberglass, bandages, some like weird fuzzy stuff. Excuse you. And yeah, they send me on my way, and they say, yeah, you're probably gonna need surgery. And a week later, well, first of all, I was supposed to go on vacation for 2 weeks from the 1st of August until about the 14th. And then the 16th I get dropped off at college. Um, And so can I get this? Oh my god. Oh my gosh. There we go. So I was supposed to get dropped off at college on the 16th in Florida, and I don't live in Florida. I live hundreds of miles away from Florida. So we call a surgery center, and we mentioned this casually to them. We're like, oh yeah, kind of sucks. You know, we're supposed to drop them off, and then you go, oh, if you do this operation here, when you go to Florida, you're not going to be able to, you know, you're going to have to come all the way back up here for follow-up appointments. And I go, oh wait, that's not great. Could you die, please? Thank you. Um, so yeah, I had to sit there with no surgery. We ended up getting there. We were staying in Orlando, but the college I go to isn't in Orlando. Um, so we drive all the way to the other college, the other town where the college is, and they say, oh yeah, so on the third, they're like, yeah, you're gonna need surgery for this. And they schedule me for surgery on the 5th, and then on the 5th I go back and I get arm surgery. Um, and oh, that cat is dead. That cat's so dead, isn't it? Um, and so yeah, we go back on the 5th, and I get surgery, and it was just a lot of fun. Um, you know, going and getting put to sleep. Actually, I say it like it was a really bad thing. The surgery itself was entirely fine. I got to go and be put under. I got to take a nice little nap. I was not afraid at all for the surgery. I know it kind of sounds like I'm trying to be macho saying that, but genuinely, I was like, I just wanted to be able to move my arm again because at this point, the cast that I had originally put me in um, completely covered my arm from uh, I couldn't move my fingers all the way down to like I couldn't move my elbow. And I was like, I just want my range of motion back. And they were like, oh yeah, you'll get like probably fingers, maybe elbow, maybe even wrist at the end of this. And I'm like, all right, sweet, just give me my range of motion back, please. Oh, the cat survived. Lovely. There's a scorpion, which isn't lovely. And I'm like, yeah, I'd like to just move my arm again, please. Um, and finally, went and got the surgery, and afterwards, I woke up, and I could in fact move. I could move my fingers, like kind of the ends of them. I couldn't clench them all the way down to the knuckles, but I could move them, and I could also move my elbow, which was fantastic. Um, except, pranked you, I could not because I was paralyzed. They gave me what's called a nerve blocker. They put it into my shoulder, and then everything from my shoulder down to my elbow, I just couldn't move, or not down my sorry, my entire arm, I couldn't move, um, which was nice because I couldn't feel the pain of post surgery, which I don't think I would have been able to handle because the next few days were agony. I woke up and suddenly achy pain, not great, and stinging, aching and stinging, and oh balls. I think is that death? No, okay, we're good. So yeah, that's lovely. That was very fun. Exactly what I wanted, and so yeah, I realized later on that I should probably listen to the instructions. And so, at first I woke up and I was like, oh, this hurts kind of a lot. This is not great. And I finally, a few hours later, I was like, wait a minute. Didn't they give me like post-op instructions? What does it include? What does it say here? And I decided to listen and put an ice pack, ice my arm every hour and keep it above my heart level to decrease swelling. And would you look at that? Turns out that actually worked. That was a good advice that the hospital gave me. That was the wrong. Oh no. So the hospital did in fact give me good health advice by telling me to ice it and keep it above my heart to decrease swelling. And once I listened to them, you know, it still hurt a lot. I ended up going to some clothing outlets to buy some fun stuff, and it wasn't. It ended up not being a good time. I ended up getting quite hurt, and I also once I went in for surgery, I was actually under doctor's orders not to sweat anymore, which again, I lived in Florida, so not great. Uh, but today, the 18th, I had the cast removed. They removed the stitches, so now I can sweat. I can wash my arm without having to put a trash bag over it so that the cast doesn't get wet. And I can move my wrist again now that I've gotten the final cast off, the final of the 3 casts. I say 3 because they put another one on me after the surgery, but also before. We were supposed to go on a cruise, and I ended up getting it wet in the shower, which you're not supposed to do, and it kind of leaked out. Um, Onto my pillow, just a thing of red, and it was some of my cast. It felt mostly fine, but it ached a little bit. And we went back, and they had to take it off and clean it um, at the Orlando ER. But it ended up being fine. They were like, "Oh yeah, you're fine. We just have to put a new one on," which was actually more comfortable. I got less finger range of motion. Um, don't read into that. I got more finger range of motion sorry, less finger range of motion, but it was less tight, so it was more comfortable. But now I just gotta wrap it every time I go out in public for the next few days. On the 19th, I'm good to just keep it unwrapped, everything. I just can't lift or push or pull more than 5 pounds. So yeah, that's the arm escapade, as it were. These shopkeepers are stupid.